What's up, everyone? It's the Ghost from the Ghost Corporation here today, and today I actually have a special guest on the channel. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Levine. I'm currently a coach with Duelist Academy, which is we'll talk about later at the end, I'm sure. I guess a brief recap of who I am and why my opinions could potentially be relevant to YuGiOh. I am the one and only YCS Melbourne champion, and by that I mean there's only been one YCS Melbourne, so all the rest have been in Sydney. Yes, I live in America and went all the way to Australia multiple times to enter YCSs because I am a psychopath. Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. I've been playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for many years. I have a sizable chunk of YCS tops, but obviously that is the crown jewel, is the win in Australia. So yeah.
Alrighty. And so you played in the recent Remote Duel YCS, and you were actually a VIP, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, I did. And I was.
So you had a 2-round bye, so that kind of made the overall experience a little bit easier than most of the 1,800 people that entered.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So with that being said, how did the event go for you? We'll get into a special little thing about that. Later.
So overall, I've played a good chunk of Remote Duel events. I haven't played a whole lot of them recently because once they announced the Remote Duel YCS, I kind of lost interest in the extravaganzas. But when they first announced the extravaganzas, I played the first couple that they did. Like I played the very first one. I think I played the first 3, maybe even the first 4. And then I was fortunate enough to be invited to the first invitational, the one that wasn't one you qualified for. Like Konami just handpicked 16 people that they, wanted to feature. And I was lucky enough to be one of those 16. It was, a lot of players, I guess, with similar credentials to myself, and then a few content creators. And that was the first invitational. And then after that, all the invitationals since then have been you top the extravaganza, get an invite to a qualifier, and then top the qualifier, and then get to play the invitational. And I also qualified for one of those. So I've played 2 invitationals total, and the 3 or 4 extravaganzas. So as far as the YCS goes, I can only compare it to how the other events went. And the first extravaganza, the very, very first one, it was the first big Remote Duel event they ever did. I think anybody who played in that knows it did not go very well for the East Coast people because I was playing my rounds. I finished my last round after midnight, right? That was pretty bad, right? For the first Remote Duel event. And obviously they learned from that. And then the next one, I believe they started an hour earlier. And that one finished, earlier, and they knew what they were doing, so it was a little bit faster. And then I haven't played the main event since then, so I don't know how much better they had gotten. But my group specifically, because how the YCS was, there were 8 or 10 different groups. I don't remember how many. My group specifically was like lightning quick. Like my rounds were super, super quick. Like everything was going very, very smoothly. And I want to say we finished our round 8 no later than 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern, maybe something like that. It was like I was expecting it to go until at least 10 or 11 Eastern, and it ended at like 8 or 9 or something. Like it ended like 2 hours earlier than I thought. There was one group for the Remote Duel YCS. Basically, every late entrant just got pushed into server A. So I know server A went super long because it was twice as large as every other server. But mine went super, super smooth. I think it was pretty good, pretty well run.
Right. Oh my god. I wish I was in that server. But yeah. I think mine went pretty well as well. So, you entered the YCS. You had a 2-round bye. It was going to go perfectly for you. And then...
Yeah.
Tragedy.
So I guess I have to lay the foundation for this. So because, as you mentioned, I had the buys, and because the YCS was on Pacific time and I live on the East Coast, round 1 of the YCS didn't start for me until 1 p.m. And because I had 2 buys, for me, realistically, it was 3 p.m., right? So maybe even later. As I said, I was one of the fastest servers. So I think my round 3 ended up getting paired at about 3:30, and mine was the first server that had round 3 paired. So realistically, most of the other people with buys didn't actually start playing till 4 or even 4:30. So because of this, because I literally wasn't playing until after 3 p.m. on Saturday, I didn't get up early and make sure all my equipment was ready. I was just doing stuff that day. I had a Saturday, because I wasn't playing until 3 p.m. So, I kind of, nonchalantly, just get back home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start playing. And it was 3 o'clock. And I go, I'll be home by 3 o'clock. That'll give me plenty of time. I walk upstairs and the door to my home office where I have my remote duel set up does not open. And I'm like, this is an interesting development, I guess. I did not know that door locked. Obviously, I've entered the room since then. So I've now fiddled with it and found out how it locks, and I don't know how it happened. So basically, to lock it, it doesn't have like a button. You have to push in the doorknob and rotate it a certain way. It's very bizarre. And because of that, the locking mechanism from the other side, it doesn't have a key. It has I'm sure a bunch of, I'm sure many of you at home who have just very basic privacy locks on your bathroom have these weird things where they have a little hole in the middle of the doorknob. You can click it open. Yeah, this didn't have that. It didn't quite have that. It needed a special tool that I didn't have. So basically I'm sitting here, I'm oh my God, my round's gonna be paired any minute and I don't know what's going on. So I get in a Discord call because all the other Duelist Academy coaches were in a Discord call, just waiting for their rounds to start. And I was like, my door is locked. And they thought I was joking at first. And I was like, no, I cannot access my room to play. And they're like, okay. I think Jeff sends me a video of a YouTube video of somebody, opening a similar door to mine. Everyone's like, okay, send us a picture of your door. We can figure out what model number it is. We couldn't find it. Keep in mind, this is technically a call of 10 of the brightest minds in all of YuGiOh. Which does not really amount to much, unfortunately, as you will soon see. So I'm sitting there trying to open it. I find a toolbox in my closet, and I have a bunch of screwdrivers and different tools that I see if any of them can fit the slot correctly to open the door. None of them do. And then my round gets paired. And I can't believe it because as I said, no other server is even remotely close to getting paired. And I'm like, I cannot believe my server is just 30 minutes ahead of schedule of everyone. This is insane. So I join the Discord call to my round 3 opponent, and I say, hey, I am the dumbest person alive. I locked myself out of my office. You will now listen to me trying to open my door for the next 10 minutes, and then I will concede. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yes. So I just put my phone down, and I put it on speaker, and I'm just sitting there prodding my door with miscellaneous screwdrivers and items and what have you. Try to pry it. Eventually I tried to break the doorknob. I tried to see if because if I can just break the doorknob itself, then I can open the door and the actual door is not harmed. And it's probably a lot cheaper to just replace a doorknob. I can do that myself. I can literally go to Walmart and buy one for $10 and fix it. So I was like, maybe I'll break the doorknob. And then I tried breaking the doorknob, and then it felt like I was going to break the whole door. So I was like, okay, this is not a good idea. So I call in a judge, and I explain the situation. Because something a lot of people were doing for this event is because of the entry mat and stuff, they were just not playing, and they were just conceding. And the rule was you had to play through a certain number of rounds to actually get your prizing. And I said, so I called in a judge. I said, please do not drop me. I am not just trying to get the entry prizing. I'm trying to play. I am very, very dumb. This is what happened. I'm conceding. Do not drop me. And the judge is like, okay. so I lose round 3. I get a round 3 loss, and I'm like, all right. But now I have 50 minutes to get into this room. I've now bought myself some precious time by conceding round 3. Very, very early, obviously. Like, I wasn't gonna go through the whole song and dance of like, judge, if I like break in right now, can I get a time extension? Because if I tried to do that, I don't think, like, anyway, it was just not worth it. So at this point, Jeff has posted about it on Facebook, Nishad has posted about it on Facebook, and Jesse's posted about it on Twitter, and Farf has posted about it on Twitter. So I'm actually just like getting messages from people about like my door. Like, I got like phone calls from my friends that like don't even really play Yu-Gi-Oh! They just saw Nishad's post on Facebook and were like, what is going on? I'm like, I don't know. So I go back in the Discord call of everyone, as I mentioned previously, and I'm like, okay guys, I just conceded round 3. What are my options here? And it's funny because I'll be honest with you, going into the YCS, I didn't really care that much. Like, it didn't really mean a whole lot to me.
Right.
But after this, it meant everything. Which I'm about to explain. After the events that unfold right now, this event meant so much to me. It's crazy. So we're sitting there. I think Jeff was like, turn on your camera on your phone. Like, let's look at the door. You know, we'll figure it out. I turn it on, and then I fiddle with it for a little bit, and I have it there. We try to break the doorknob, as I mentioned earlier. It doesn't work. And then Furman goes, Ryan, put on your shoes. And I knew it was over. I knew it was finished. So then, yeah, I mean, I'm sure enough people, like, it got spread around enough, have seen the photo I posted on Twitter, where I kicked in the door. So between rounds 3 and 4, I kicked in the door. Actually, the door itself was not damaged, only the door frame. So all things considered, not that crazy. Exactly. All things considered, the damage could have been worse. I didn't like rip the door off the hinges. I just kicked at the doorknob. So it just like broke the metal, you know, like holding in. I don't even know what it's called, but basically, right. There's a picture of it. So basically, now that I sacrificed my door, the event meant so much more to me. So then I continue playing. I don't lose until round 8. And then I win out day 2 and I get 33rd. So I ended 9-2. I ended with a record of 9-2. One of my losses being me literally locked out of my room because I am just the dumbest human alive. Like literal divine, it took divine intervention to prevent me from topping the remote duel at YCS.
The door went too well.
Yes, actually. But like, in all seriousness, I don't think my deck was actually as good as it could have been. So like, it would have kind of been pretty undeserved for me to top anyway. It was like, after I played a couple rounds, I realized a lot of things that I could have improved in my deck. But as I mentioned, it meant so much to me now, I had to keep going. And man, I will say 33rd was a little heartbreaking. Like, just specifically, if it was like 34th, I literally would have been like, damn, that sucks, but who cares? 33rd was sick. That was just the twist of the knife, to be honest.
The door kept you on the bubble.
Literally just the twist of the knife. But yeah, so that was the story of me and my door. Not really good. Like, you know, like I wish I could say, or I wish I could promise nothing like this will ever happen again, but I am very, very dumb. So it's very, very possible that similar things could, as long as events take place inside my own home, it's very possible I will do something almost as stupid again. So fingers crossed I don't, but you never know. So,
hopefully next time you drink Bang energy drinks before round 3 and somehow have the mental capabilities to unlock the door.
I did not at that point. The door was not unlocking. I can tell you right now, the door is still locked. Like, it just doesn't, but I broke my door frame, so I don't need it to unlock anymore.
Right.
But now it's 2 weeks later. I haven't unlocked the door. Like, I probably could now that I know I could now that I've gotten to their side by force. But, like, I've been trying to unlock it, like, from the side, literally in some desperate, like, bargaining. Is there anything else I could have done? And the answer is no. I've been fiddling with it for 2 weeks, and I still can't unlock it. So like, I don't know, man. So for anybody on Twitter saying, why didn't you just swipe a credit card or something equally irrelevant? Like, I don't know, man. Like, the door doesn't do that. I don't know what to tell you.
Do it. And this door will forever go down in history.
Literally forever.
The literal
troll locked out of my house, yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You only got to attack once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. But outside of that, the event went pretty well for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So basically, I learned very, very quickly that my deck was like pretty unplayable, but it played Anaconda and Dragoons in it. So a lot of my games were just all of my Drytron cards got negated by my opponent's Appaloosa or like 7 hand traps or like whatever it was. Like literally, if I went first or if I went second, didn't matter. My opponent had 18 ways to stop me from doing anything. And then I just had 2 irrelevant cards in the field and I went, made Anaconda, summoned Dragoon. And as I mentioned, won almost every single game. So like literally, like I was sitting there going, wow, my deck is terrible. And then just summoned Dragoons and won a lot more than I should have. And I'm like, this is probably not healthy.
This is not, no.
It's like, oh god.
This is giving me Nightmare Mermaid vibes.
Yes. I mean, kind of. That's kind of how I felt, is I was like, wow, this is not okay. But
it's not. And you were saying you were on Drytron, right? So a lot of
I was playing Drytron. It was a deck that I would say like 98% of it, or 90, like I'm gonna say 95% of it. The groundwork was pretty much laid out by Jesse Asala and Blake, and then I'd been playing it, and we kind of like compared notes, and then you know we made some tweaks at the end, but the basic concept that we kind of ran with, which was the pre-prep with Herald of Perfection, and then also playing Dragoon, was something that they pretty much decided on way earlier than I did, and I definitely took a bit of convincing. And in hindsight, after the tournament, I think the Dragoon package was obviously, as I just said, 100% the way to go. Nobody was prepared for it really at all. Like nobody, it was not on anyone's radar. Every time I summoned it, they went, "Oh my god, you play that!" Like as it, like it just absolutely, you know, like nobody thought about it. The pre-prep stuff I learned pretty quickly. That is a phenomenal game 1 card, and then game 2 after siding. Like, I would side out pre-prep and Dawn of the Herald almost every game, because it's a card that's way harder to resolve into your opponent's interrupt. Like, if you're going first, right? Right. Pre-prep, it searches Herald of Perfection and Dawn of the Herald. So the only thing you need to make that complete combo is just a Ben 10. And the deck plays a ton of ways to get to Ben 10, right? It plays Ben 10 itself, Preparation of Rites, and then any combination of Drytron Nova, Drytron Alpha, Cyber Emergency, right? So if your opponent has no responses, you have like 15 ways or 13 ways to get to Ben 10. Actually, Foolish Burial and Fafnir and Ben 10, you have 15 ways to get to Ben 10. And that's great. That's very, very powerful. Going second, your opponent's probably going to negate Alpha, right? Like, even if they only have 1 negation, if they literally have 1 point of interaction, they're usually going to use it on Alpha. So now you've lost 12 of your ways to get to Ben 10. So going second, I think pre-prep was a bit more of a liability than I initially thought it would be, but then it turned out to be a fine side out. And like in hindsight, I would build my deck a little bit differently, likely to include pre-prep still, but play a different side plan with the intention of siding it out. Because that wasn't something I had decided on until very, very late into the deck building process. Pretty much an hour before I submitted my deck list, I realized how beneficial it might be to side out pre-prep. So I didn't have time really to like completely rework my side deck to take that into account. So when I said, you know, earlier, like my deck was unplayable, It wasn't. That's an exaggeration. But it definitely wasn't as good as I think it could have been. So that was something that obviously I would have liked to top. I don't think it would have been outlandish if I topped. I think my deck, relatively speaking, compared to the field, was actually pretty good. But it definitely could not have been as good. It was definitely not perfect.
Right.
And it could have been optimized. And basically how I see Yu-Gi-Oh! is like I always try to make everything as optimal as possible. And I do not subscribe to the mentality of, well, I won anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think if there are improvements to be made, it doesn't matter if you won. You can make improvements, right? So getting 33rd, if I got 32nd and then topped anyway, I would have the same feeling, right? I think the deck could have been improved. I don't want to improve it just because I didn't top. I think that's like a ridiculous sentiment, and I really don't. I don't subscribe to the theory of, well, it topped, so it's good. That's not really how that works, right? I think it's generally you have to evaluate these things separately from the results. So yeah, that was pretty much my YCS experience and where I think Drytron can go and where I think I would like to take it for the rest of this format if I decide to play any more events that are coming up.
Speaking of events coming up, Locals is finally back.
Yeah.
Regionals might be back soon, maybe?
I don't know. So I thought they would be. There was an announcement floating around where they have there is a 2021 game mat with Ecclesia on it that says regional on the mat. But then, and I was like, oh my god, are they going to have regionals in like October or something? And then it turns out there was an announcement that like Locals are just hosting tournaments for that mat. And I was like, that's a bizarre, why would they put regional on it? Like what does that even mean? So I got really confused by that. But maybe, yeah, I mean like maybe, right? Like if they printed a regional mat, then maybe at least somewhere in the pipeline they were considering regionals soon. I'm not really like, I'm not really, speculating on that. It doesn't really matter to me. Like I've had my fair share of regionals and I don't really like regionals that much, so I probably wouldn't go to them anyway, so it doesn't really do me any good personally to like speculate if we're getting them. But Locals opening up is a big deal for sure. And as I said, entering events, I don't think I'm gonna play Drytron at Locals. I don't think that would be fun for anybody, including me. But yeah, for sure. I think that's a big step, right? To kind of returning to I don't know. Normal is weird to even say. Like, who knows if everything will ever be completely back to normal? Like, I feel like, because if you think about it, I feel like a lot of the systems that we have in place now are just good. And like, if remote dueling is this successful, even when like COVID is like a distant memory, I feel like it's reasonable to every once in a while have like a Comic-Con remote duel thing, like when we have like, or like what they did before even the extravaganzas, right? Like, oh, it's Comic-Con weekend, and even when Comic-Con is back in person and Konami has a booth again, why not just have a remote duel event online? I think people enjoy them, I think, right? So I think that's something cool that's going to come of all this, is that we've been forced to try other things and innovate a little bit more. And, obviously, remote dueling isn't better than playing in person. It's not a perfect replacement. But I definitely think, even when everything is back, I don't think remote duel locals would really be that popular. Like, I wouldn't want to play remote duel locals, like, every week. Like, the reason I think locals is fun is going and seeing, like, friends. But I can definitely see if they do, like, a giant card remote duel for, like, Comic-Con or something, or just having, like, Winamats for remote duel when they do big events. I think that would be a big success, and I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And now they actually I think just today, as we're recording this video, they just announced Master Duel Simulator.
Yes. God, do I have I have so many opinions on that, but I want to hear your thoughts actually first from I don't even know, like, I don't know how to say this, from somebody who is for sure a more casual player than I am, right? Like from somebody who's not hyper analyzing every aspect of this game at all times. Like, what do you think about Master Duel? Like.
So for me, I am actually very glad that we have a simulator that is not Dueling Book or Edo Pro or any YuGiOh Pro variant, because now it feels like Konami is actually listening to the casuals who don't want to actually go out and necessarily spend all that money on something, and then at the end of the day not really even want to go to a big event to necessarily do well, but we do want to have the chance to go ahead and play the game to the best of our ability. If you get what I mean. Like, I don't necessarily want to have to go out and buy tactics if I'm playing a 2013 deck, and I just wanted to go ahead and throw in some Burning Abyss, maybe. But Burning Abyss is actually not that bad. But you get the idea of I want to stay on the frugal side of the world and just be able to still enjoy the game, but not necessarily having to shell out big bucks if I'm not going to be doing anything like a world's points grind or anything.
Yeah. So at this time, as you said, they announced it today, they have not detailed monetization of the game yet. And I think we both agreed there will be some monetization, right? Like at a certain degree, we will have to give them money. Exactly. We don't know how much, but yeah, I think, so I think for sure, we compare this to games like Hearthstone, Pokemon Online, Magic Arena, right? I think that's the comparison that we all have to draw. And I wasn't sure what to make of it when the initial announcement happened many months ago, when they just said, Master Duel, this is a thing that we're doing, because they made that announcement a few months ago. But after seeing it today and seeing the trailer, it literally looked like just a Magic Arena, Hearthstone, Pokemon, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! And they have fun animations for all the cards, and it's just that's what they need. I think the best, I don't remember who this was, but somebody on Twitter said this will signal boost Yu-Gi-Oh! And I 100% agree. Because I think that's what Hearthstone specifically actually had over the other simulators. And that's why Magic, I don't know if you've played Magic Online, the original Magic Online. That was the most bare bones, basic simulator. It was literally a simulator. And it was exclusively for the competitive player. No animations, incredibly streamlined. It was for a spectator, it was rough, right? If you're trying they couldn't market that, right? But it served its purpose for many years. It was okay, we want to have a Magic simulator. It is the most bare bones thing imaginable. Then Hearthstone came around, and Hearthstone is an exclusively online game, and there are fun animations and all the explosions and everything. And I do play Hearthstone. I don't play it as competitively as Yu-Gi-Oh, but I do play it semi-competitively. That I'm I do know what I'm talking about to a certain degree. That from the spectator perspective, Hearthstone is an infinitely more visually engaging game to watch than something like Dueling Book, Magic Online, even Pokemon Online, actually, right? It's infinitely more visually interesting, because even somebody who doesn't really get it understands what's going on. When somebody plays a really big minion in Hearthstone, the board thumps, and it shakes a little bit. It's somebody who doesn't know what's going on, when they see somebody play an 8/8 and the board literally rumbles, they go, oh, that must be a really big minion. Somebody casts Fireball and a huge ball of fire flies out and destroys them, and you're oh, that's a really powerful spell, right? It's very easy for somebody who doesn't know the intricacies of the rules of Hearthstone to follow what's going on, because the animations are so visually interesting and like that. And based on what I saw from the trailer in Master Duel, they're going in that direction. And to circle back, Magic Online, now they have Magic Arena, which is that, right? A lot of the cards, it's a much more visually interesting, because they want the spectator to be able to really clearly understand what's going on. Somebody who doesn't understand Yu-Gi-Oh, right? If they're watching Dueling Book, even a paper game, and you're just moving cards around, it doesn't mean anything to them. They don't know what these cards do. Right. They have no context for anything that's going on. If my dad is watching Yu-Gi-Oh, he doesn't know what's going on. He just sees people moving cards around. You know what I mean? Literally, it means nothing. Yeah. If he's watching Yu-Gi-Oh, and when Spiral Super Agent correctly reveals the top card, and a big crosshair comes up over my opponent's back row, and he gets what's going on, right? Somebody that's never played Yu-Gi-Oh understands what's happening. Right? Oh, that card got rid of that card. That was the effect. That card did something. It impacted the field. Stuff like that, right? Yeah. So I think this is a big step for Konami to turn Yu-Gi-Oh into something bigger, which is something I've always wanted. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh's been a big part of my life for many years, right? Like you don't travel to Australia 3 times to play a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament unless like it means that much to you, right? So I would love for Yu-Gi-Oh to be a bigger game, you know, than it is currently, you know, and a bigger, you know, not even just from the competitive side, just from like the mainstream. And I think Duel Links did a lot to get Yu-Gi-Oh kind of back into the mainstream, kind of like how Pokemon Go. I know Pokemon was already a huge casual franchise, but I'm saying like Pokemon Go, just like a mobile game, really got Pokemon back into the mainstream. Like, and yes, I know Pokemon is the biggest media franchise currently in the world. Yes, don't at me. I understand. Even without Pokemon Go, it was that. But you have to admit, Pokemon Go, when it came out, pushed it into like the main, like there were news stories about, like you could turn on the little evening news and they're talking about Pokemon Go, right? So you know, I don't think Master Duel is going to do that, right? But I do think that it is going to revolutionize how we distribute Yu-Gi-Oh content. Like Twitch streamers are no longer going to have a weird like Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game, you know, like a banner to stream under. It'll be Master Duel. It'll be a specific game that people are playing. Somebody sees Master Duel, they play Master Duel. They don't really get Yu-Gi-Oh. They go, "Oh, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh." That's how they get into Duel Links, right? Is they go, "I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh." Then in Duel Links, after they played a while, a little video pops up. This is actually something that they said. They actually said within Duel Links, they will have tutorial videos for Master Duel, which I think is a phenomenal, crazy. Yeah. That is one thing I would have never, ever thought about. And I think about this stuff a lot. And literally what I was in school for is like marketing and business and all this stuff. So that is a crazy idea that I would have never thought about. They've now figured out through Rush Duel and through Duel Links, you know, speed duels or whatever, they've now created these alternate formats that will feed people into Yu-Gi-Oh! And then presumably, once you've played Duel, you know, let's say very casual person plays Duel Links a few hours, you know, they grind through the you know, like the regular stuff, they unlock the GX stuff, you know, they find some characters that they like, and it goes, "Oh, you like Duel Links? How about this one?" Maybe, you know, shows you Master Duel. Maybe because you can link Duel Links to your Konami card game account, which you can also link to Neuron. Hopefully, again, conspiracy. I'm telling you, all this is going to be linked. I promise you. Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. What if they're like, "Oh, you play a lot of Duel Links. How about you try out Master Duel? Put in your Konami ID. We'll actually give you a Konami ID right now." Through Duel Links, we will give you a Konami ID, link it to Master Duel. Now you have your Duel Links and your Master Duel account connected to your Konami ID. Also, here's Neuron, so you can manage all of it. And because we play Duel Links, we'll give you a few bonus packs in Master Duel. Right? Stuff like that. Just to get people playing the game, to get people thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh!, to get people interested in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I think is a great opportunity. And damn, this is a long time coming. They should have done this like 3 years ago, but it looks beautiful. I loved every second of what I was watching. When I got up this morning and I watched the trailer, I felt like a kid in a candy store. I was so happy. It was all so cool, and I was like, man, this is gonna be awesome. Like, I was just so excited. I haven't been excited about something like that for so long. Like, oh my god. I just love it.
But now Yu-Gi-Oh! Can officially be a quote unquote, don't at me, esport.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, I agree, yes. So, and that's something that I think is also gonna be cool. That I think, like, there have been teams in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while, right? You know, like different stores advertising, you know, for whatever, right? And there's only so, you know, I've been a part of a number of them, you know, and so have a lot of people, you know, that I'm associated with. But like, at the end of the day, there's only so much you can profit from by finding a very consistent good player and going, here's a jersey, here's a shirt, it has my store name on it. I sell cards online, top the event, I'll give you some amount of money, and then advertise my store. There's obviously only so far that can go. Esports is different, right? Because they have sponsors from like, you know, like tech companies. Like if, you know, like if a team gets, if an esports team that already exists, right? Like even just throwing it together, if you know, like Liquid is just like, hey, we're gonna branch it into Master Duel, right? Like done, over. Sign me up. You know, like it's done, man. Like I will do whatever you want. Like something like that, right? Like I definitely think this is a huge thing, and I agree. I think, and if Yu-Gi-Oh gets like this esports status, kind of like how Hearthstone does, right? I think that does a lot for the mainstream. Not like it's kind of weird, right? Because I think it's like a weird like niche. It's like it's not really quite the mainstream because it's exclusively like these very dedicated, I'm gonna say gamers, right? That like follow esports, but it lets Yu-Gi-Oh tap into a new audience for sure. And that audience is a huge audience. The esports audience is huge. If somebody watching League, right, and follows a team, hears, oh wow, my favorite League team picked up Yu-Gi-Oh, that's crazy. I remember Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe I'll try it again.
Exactly.
Right? Like I think it's as simple as that. So yeah, I mean, just I'm sure this was not, I didn't expect this part of my thing to be this long, but basically to sum it all up, I am giddy for Master Duel. I hope it comes out as soon as possible. I hope it is. I can't wait to stream it. I would love to support it as much as I can, and I'm just super excited for it. I think it's great, and from what I can tell so far, it looks like they're doing everything right. When the monetization details come out, maybe not, but we'll see, right? Like basically, something else I've seen is people are like, oh, don't get so excited about Master Duel. We don't know how it's going to be monetized. I'm like, just let people enjoy things. Exactly. We're all happy. Don't ruin it yet. You know, like let Konami ruin it when they tell you it's $200 a year. You know, like whatever, right? Like, or whatever dumb thing that like happens. You know, but like, granted, to be honest, if that even was, I would pay that. That's compared to how much I spend on Yu-Gi-Oh. Compared to how much we spend on Yu-Gi-Oh, $200 a year is actually nothing compared to how much it costs to build an actual Yu-Gi-Oh deck. You can't even buy so yeah, you know what? Actually, if they come out and say it's $200 a year, literally sign me up. Exactly. I'm there. like that's like 2 droplets.
Exactly. It's done.
Yeah, literally, it's done. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
You're fine.
But yeah, that is my thought on Master Duel. I love it. I
can't wait.
Also, something I want to say. This is something Bowden pointed out to me, and we didn't see it actually get played, but something that, if true, is crazy, and this will be the best game of all time, and I will literally upgrade my PC to play this in the highest resolution, 4K HD. 700 frames per second, like I need it, is there is in all of the scenes in the trailer, there are different game boards. One of them has the World Legacy sword and the World Legacy, like, I don't know what it's called, like the glove or whatever, in like the background. And I'm like, oh cool, it's a World Legacy. Another one looks like Preparation of Rites. Like it looks like the scene from the card preparation. And then one of the avatars, because it looks like we got little dual avatars, one of the players' avatar is Ritual Raven. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Then the next scene is, it looks very similar to the Preparation of Rites scene, but it's all covered in lava. And it's Salamangreat, and Salamangreat Sanctuary is on the field. And if the game boards change because you play field spells, this is the greatest game ever made. Literally, if that is the level of detail that they're going to, you know, I think maybe it's possible there's just like a lava like game board that is just like random, and they just put it with the Salamangreat deck just to make it look cool. But if Salamangreat Sanctuary makes the field erupt into lava, 10 out of 10, greatest game. Best game ever made. Literal, done. You can have all my money. I will buy every cosmetic. I will buy everything. I'll buy every card. You can have it all.
Ooh, the Mystic Mine players though.
Oh, if somebody added me to Mystic Mine and caves like erupt from the ground, oh, it's done.
Yes.
Like, it's over.
Exactly. Oh, I can't wait for it to come out so that DA can go ahead and stream it. And I can't
literally every day. Literally every day.
Exactly. Oh man. Speaking of DA streams, this is that part of the video where you go ahead and plug all your stuff.
Nice. So yeah, I mentioned in the beginning, Duelist Academy. This is something that we do. Ghost Corp is actually one of our community members. He's a big contributor. We offer one-on-one personalized Yu-Gi-Oh coaching. This is something we started right before COVID hit. So when we initially started it, we expected there to be events, and then, COVID happened a little after, and, it got a little dicey. But, we do one-on-one coaching. We host tournaments, and we do deck doctors, and we have other, exclusive videos and, tutorial videos, stuff like that we post on our platform. That's on patreon.com/Duelist Academy. And we're just trying to help people that want to transition to the next level, but don't really have the support. Like, for us, for example, a lot of us, me especially, God, when I started, I started at the lowest of the lows, literal bottom of the barrel. And what helped me improve as a player was surrounding myself with people better than me that were willing to give me a hand, right? And I know not everybody lives in regions where that's possible. So we're doing our best. Obviously, we are receiving payment for it. We do value our time, but considering what it is, I think there's a lot of value to it. If you really, really want to take your game to the next level and want personalized coaching from some of the best players in the game, myself, Jesse Cotton, Asala, his last name's too long, so we're just going to leave that out there. Bowden, Paolo, Gabe, right? If you really just want, to get coached by somebody who you've, seen in Top Cut of all of these events, and you've always wanted to, pick their brain and just talk to them about something, that is something that we're offering. And, there's more to it than just the one-on-one coaching. We also have a booming Discord server. Ghost Corp is actually one of our mods, as I mentioned. He's a big member of our community. That even when the coaches aren't there, everybody part of our community is somebody trying to improve, right? They're all people trying to get better, and we're all working towards a common goal, which is to help everyone out and really, help everyone get what they want to out of this game. As I mentioned earlier, and as I've been gushing over the smallest details that I've noticed in Master Duel, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Casually for 15 years, competitively for 6, right? I've been playing this game for so long, and it means so much to me, and it's changed so much, and we just want everybody to think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is as beautiful as we do. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's pretty much what it is, right? Is we think there is so much more to this game than most people would think. So that is kind of our goal. So yeah, check it out if that sounded interesting. And you know what? We also stream twitch.tv/Duelist Academy. We stream sometimes, not that often. When Master Duel comes out, we're going to stream a lot more. So if you like me just ranting about things like this, you thought this was entertaining, I'm your guy. I'll be there sometime.
It's beautiful every single time. Mm-hmm. And we're going to leave all the links to everything in the description of this video. Description below.
Beautiful.
Check that out. And that actually, unless you have anything else you would like to add?
I think I've said more than enough.
That actually brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. Consider hitting that subscribe button and tapping the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Ryan actually didn't mention this, but he's actually my personal coach. I know if you've been on this channel long enough, you've seen I've name dropped it a lot of times in those crazy Grenmaju amalgamations that he refuses to let me play anymore.
Yeah, well, yes, that is true.
Yes. So again, yes. And if you look back at our old videos, you can go ahead and check those out. Those deck profiles are absolutely atrocious. And you can kind of see when we decided to go ahead and join DA, a whole big turnaround kind of happened. And I'm still improving myself. and getting there, still playing casual decks, but improving in other aspects. So when I do play a easy mode deck, a tier 1 deck actually, it makes my time a lot easier rather than consistently playing this game on hard mode and just not knowing what's going on at all. So, again, if you want to go ahead and check that out, links to everything will be in the description below. This has been The Ghost from the Ghost Corporation and Ryan coming at you with the YCS. I wanted to call this a YCS review, but
it was Master Duel review, honestly.
Master Duel.
That's what it was. Master Duel review with my door.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful. Thank you for watching.